call that from the creator, founder, CEO of the company, all the way down to little old me. We have so much support with these guys. And Graham was saying it's a 360 degree company. I mean, from education, from amazing hair. And now we have K-Tips, and I'm so excited and honored to be here today um, to show you guys some K-Tips. It's exciting.
Super excited. And I would love for Matt and Graham to introduce themselves just so they know who within the brand is on the call.
Oh, sure. Thanks, Katina. My name is Matt Pastorius. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Covet Mane. I've been here almost a year. In August will be my first year anniversary, and I just have absolutely been so excited to be part of this team. It's just such a welcoming and warm culture, which starts with Defina. And I think that's one of the things that if you're new to Covet and Maine, you'll probably notice right away is that there's such a community feel about the brand. It's a relatively small collective of hairdressers, which is the way we like it. Just because our goal is not to be, as Graham said before, sorry to steal your line here, Graham, but we're not aiming to be the biggest. We just want to be the best for everybody that does join our collective, starting with education and the hair product, everything. So we're excited you're here. We're excited to talk Keratin tip. And I'll turn it over to Graham to introduce himself.
So Keratin tip is my all-time favorite method. So this is exciting for me too, even though I work for the company. Um, and so I'm Graham. I'm the Director of Business Development for Covet and Maine. So, my main focus is to like sustainably grow our Covet community. So these are really exciting for me because we get to meet lots of new faces and stylists from all different, walks of career life and all over the nation. So that's really exciting. So I'll make sure to put my contact information in the group chat if you have any questions after this for any of the hosts. I am national, I can travel, and I love to meet new people. So
Thank you, Graham and Matt. I appreciate it. So before we dive into Angela's demo, we really wanted to talk about how our keratin is different from maybe what you've seen on the market. I think with Covet in Maine, we've always come from a place of problem solving. How can we make a stylist's life easier, whether that be putting a cut point on a weft so that you're able to customize it, or just changing the shape of what keratin looks like. And then with our coveted tape, making it so much easier to remove. So it's a simple process for a stylist and the client. So diving into our keratin, and I know Angela has some of it there, is all about the shape. So usually what you see is it's about square shaped, whereas with ours, it's a trapezoid shape. So this game changer really just removes waste for our stylists. So you're not having to cut it and managing that side of it or having your assistants do it. It's already pre-done for you. One, it eliminates waste, so it's not your typical shape. And then it lies flatter against the head, which you'll see in Angela's demo, so that you can hide a little bit more in there. It'll be a little bit more comfortable for your clients because it's laying naturally against the scalp. So really just, again, hair health is so important for us, and being able to give your clients different ways to wear their extensions, being able to put them up, style them back in a slick ponytail. It'll really give you everything that you're looking for within your keratin tip installation, and also being able to hybrid it with other methodologies that we offer. If Angela, you want to touch on that a little bit.
Yes. So I actually have that in my hair right now. I have two rows of concealed extensions in my hair. My natural hair is fairly short. Decided to do a chop last summer and it was very, very short. And of course, we all decide we want to go back long again. And trying to blend in, short hair with long hair, it can be great for some people, and you never have, any visualization of short hair in there if their hair is really, really fine and thin on the ends. Mine has got some texture, so it's not, you can always see that I've got short pieces. So what we've done was we've got two rows of concealed. I've actually got coveted wefts and hand-tied wefts in my hair. I kind of like a mix of both. But what we've also done is we've placed all around my hair, like all up in here on these sides, underneath, we have K-tips. So What that's done is it's created, that strong line, that kind of shelf that we see at the top of our hair whenever we are trying to go from short to long. That's actually been able to diffuse all of that. So that has honestly been the only way being able to do coveted wefts, hand-tied wefts, and then the K-tips as well has been the only reason why I've been able to do this because, we always have these little windows that tend to pop out. So what we've done is we've added K-tips to all of that. So it's been great. That'll make you stand out. I was telling them earlier, that'll make you stand out as an extension artist among anyone else, being able to do that for clients because they do struggle with that when they're, really trying to add some length. They'll struggle with those areas.
And I would love to share my screen just to show a little bit of our Keratin on-site. Since this call is live and streaming to YouTube, I won't show any pricing, but just so you're able to see and dive in a little bit more. And then as you can see here, we do have mini keratin tips available. So as I mentioned before, a lot of people either they have to cut them or they'll have their assistants cut the keratin. But now we have two options for you where you can have that full size when you're doing a full fill-in, or if you need those smaller bonds for your nape or your crown area, you can use the minis, and they come in 10 and 16 inches. Again, it's 10 strands per pack. So again, it's really targeted as a hair enhancement that you're able to give those clients that love their rows of concealed methodology, but just want a little bit more at the top just to fill them in. I think it is a great space to offer the two services together. So that way they're getting the maximum amount of hair, but the least amount of tension. And again, that focus is scalp health. And then we do also offer this in our beach wave texture. And as we know, everyone has a bit of texture in their hair. So it is a great space to just being able to play around, give them a little bit more of their natural. So say if they do go in the pool or they are at the beach and they get their hair wet, their extensions won't say like stick straight and then their natural starts to fluff. They'll be able to match that and really have that natural look that they can wear at any point in their journey. And as we mentioned, like for your ideal client of having it be seamless and versatile, 360 mobility where they can put their hair up again. They don't have to worry about it showing, again, mixing and matching your methods. It is low maintenance, long lasting and undetectable for your extensions. And then for a stylist perspective, that precision placement. So you as the artist can work in that customization area of where your client really needs it, whether again, it is that crown area or the nape or throughout. We actually did have a class with Tori Elise, who's pictured here, and she really just showed us what it looks like to only have 3 packs of our full keratin and do a full head. And just being the artist and putting it in the right spot can really work with a little, but give you a lot. And as we mentioned, working with our coveted wefts or hand-tied as a good fill-in as well. And then just so you can see some of the work that we've had submitted from our favorite artists, really diving into how seamless it looks even when her hair is up, how it'll give a beautiful face frame as well. So it's really easy to work with. And again, you'll get a lot for a little bit. And I don't want to take up too much time focusing on all the background. I would love to give Angela the space to really dive in. She has been an expert on our keratin tip. We're really excited that she's hosting our first keratin tip class on August 24th. It's sold out, but we are opening new dates. So that's really exciting. So Angela, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Katina. I'm so excited to be here and show you guys kind of a little bit about what this class is going to be. So I've got my trusty mannequin here. I want to show you guys just a little bit about what we'll go over in the class. As you guys know, I don't know if you've ever worked with K-tips before. A lot of questions arise when we talk about density and like what how to match this density to their density. And so we go over that in depth in this class. We'll also talk about scalp health, like Katina was saying. We're going to touch on everything that you guys will need to know to get you to be the artist that you need to be behind the chair when it comes to K-tips. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a tutorial here. So in our class, Katina, will you kind of tell them what they get with this class too? Because I believe they'll get the wand and all that stuff as well, correct?
Yes, so we will have two fusion tools. One is a bit of a bigger plate for our larger keratin tips, and then one is more focused on the minis. You'll also have the disc for placement that you're able to use. We'll have the breaker that opens up the keratin and a solution as well.
So here's the opener that she was talking about. We love this so much. It's so good. Solutions also will be included in that as well. So, and I'm not using the tip, the little round disc today. I'm just going to use it without it. But here's what we've got. So we'll talk about the way that the shape of the section has to look in the hair. Are you guys able to see this pretty good? When I'm doing this, we'll talk about the reasoning behind the shape of our section and why we do that. So what I've got here is one of our bigger pieces here, so our fuller bond. And I love these so much just because, like she was saying, the trapezoid that we have in these. And the reason I love this at the top, because if you guys have ever worked with any type of K-tips, you'll know that when you've got that big bulky square piece at the top, it tends to kind of push up into the scalp. So they were so thoughtful in this right here that they were making this. It's been beautiful. My clients love it. So here we are. We'll talk about positioning when you're doing this as a stylist. How you stand is so important. All the different things that you're going to need to know to create the perfect K-tip installation. And it's that easy. So you guys can see. I'm going to show you guys also a little mini blonde piece as well. So that was a bigger tool that we use. This one, again, we'll talk about density. We'll match the density to the hair and why we do what we do.
Angela, would you say there's an ideal client for keratin tip, or can anyone wear it?
Anybody really can wear the keratin tip. I find myself doing a lot of fill-ins when it comes to keratin these days. I think that the methods that we have out these days are honestly so good when it comes, because K-tips, 27 years ago, I started with K-tips, and this is all I really had at the time. And they were great then. I think they've just really gotten so much better now. So what I find that clients are really loving is if they just need a fill-in on the sides, like maybe their hair's pretty thick in the back and they don't need anything. Maybe they just want the sides. They can, we can run along the top, going all the way to the top, fill in some in the back. And it's just honestly the most bespoke way that you can ever do extensions because it gives you this little, you don't have to put much in there. You can just add a few little strands where they need it. I have a girl that does like 10 on each side, and it's exactly what she needs. She's just trying to grow out all of this right in here. Honestly, it's perfect for her. So I think that that's a really good way if you've never done K-tips before, even to just step into this. When you have this stuff in the salon as well, order a few packs and keep it on hand. When you have this stuff, you'll use it. I think just being able to talk about it with your guest, them knowing that you have it there, and they're like, hey, put a few in. Let me see if I like it. So I've had a lot of clients do that. All of my clients behind the chair right now are extension clients, but they're all very curious about K-tips. They're wanting to know all the things because they see everybody marketing it. And so when we're able to follow that up with what little they already know about it just from the marketing that they've seen, and we come in as the professional and say, oh yeah, what I can do is I can fill this in around your face, or if you want a full head, we can do the same. But we'll talk about that in the class about why we put the bigger pieces, the full keratin pieces in the back, where we go around the sides. We will walk you guys through that from the most minute amounts of the install to a full-on install. So it's great. Do you guys have questions?
Hey, Graham has one.
So I love K-tip, so this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about density before. So
Mm-hmm.
I think something else that's really powerful with how, Dafina and you developed this product is our K-tips are double drawn. So they're the
Yes.
same thickness from root to tip, but I don't think that's normal with most K-tips on the market or keratin. So I like the way you spoke about density and like true density matching.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I'm encouraging anyone to order less K-tips from Covet Mane, but the density of our K-tip is perfect. It truly is like a double drawn. So you can really achieve a lot with a little, depending on how much you're installing. So I think that's really amazing.
And what he means by the double drawn, guys, I'm not sure if everybody would know. So from root to tip, like he was saying, it's going to be the exact same. A lot of the K-tip brands that I've seen in the past, if it starts up here, it starts up a little thicker at the top, and it just honestly kind of gets really wispy at the bottom. It kind of looks like that toward the bottom. So what he was saying is that you don't have to order 20 packs of the Covet Mane K-tips. I mean, I think a full head is around 6 packs of these is what I've used. So knowing that you can also go in if you don't go in and buy the smaller pieces, that they have, you can also go in and make this what you want it to be. So if you wanted to cut this in half, you could do that as well. So I've got this. I'm using just these little scissors. Honestly, I think I got these on Amazon. They're just perfect for when it comes to cutting K-tips. But I go in, and if I didn't have any of those pieces, the smaller pieces, I would go in and put that around their face. So I usually put around from the ears forward and up, I put half pieces. So just knowing that right there is a half of one of their K-tips. So remember that as well whenever you're ordering, because from the bottom all the way to the top where the round of the head, that's where you're going to go in and put more solid. If you're doing a full install, I'm not going to go in and do K-tips all over the entire head, the full on full bonds. I'm going to use the full bonds from the nape up till around this part of the hair when it starts to bend. And then I'm going to kind of disperse them, kind of brick lay them around the back. And then as I move in around the ear section, even up into here, like this is her front, the front of her head. All of this area right in here will all be my half, or those little smaller pieces that you can order if you wanted to do that with Covet Mane. You can order these smaller ones, if you guys can see. So those are the smaller ones. So you can do that as well. So customizable, and they've made these trapezoid tips are something I've never ever seen before. There's no other brand that I've ever seen that does that. And what I love about that is when you heat that up, it doesn't create so much keratin at the top where it feels bulky. So it actually kind of gives you that like tapered feel. It's amazing.
And to add to that, Angela, too, like the just saving on the prep work is, time
Yeah,
is money. And
of course.
so if you're, prepping 6 packs of K-tips for install and you need to nip or, house them, before your client gets there, it's a whole production and there's little bits of keratin flying around. So I think it was really cool that Comet
Yeah,
looked into that, really like we're trying to save people time and just make it
yeah,
easier.
they did. They did a great job with this for sure. The little trapezoid was I was like, chef's kiss.
And how many
Perfect.
different colors do you usually use within one install?
I will always put at least two. I will always put at least two different colors in because I feel like that will give you more of a blended look. I do a lot of blondes, especially with me being a brunette. I mean, most of my clients are actually blonde, but I feel like if you go in and put, just one color all in through, like these right here actually have two colors in them. These are um, two different colors that are in this one. But I like to do quite a few different, I mean, honestly, three or four different colors depending on what they have, how bright they are. But the great thing about this is if that blonde is a little bit darker underneath, you just want to do the exact same thing. Like if she's darker underneath, match that color underneath, match that color in the interior, and then around the front and side. Usually they're a little brighter around the front. So I'll put some of the brightness at the bottom where that'll kind of peek out and come around the front. So just get creative. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, I think that that's what sets you guys apart from other stylists. Instead of just putting just one blonde color into someone's head, knowing that they're a blonde, really go in. And I mean, honestly, what I do is I twist that hair just to really see all the different dimensions that are in there and match that up. The great thing is that y'all have a lot to choose from.
And I'll ask to Franco, Kayla, Kelsey, Nashiba, Nikki, Samantha. Are you guys doing gram weight based installs or are you doing look based installs? I'm putting everyone on the spot. If they're behind the chair right now working on someone, sorry. But I was just curious because we do, so Franco said look based. That's amazing. And so, because we have the gram weights for, it's 25 bonds a bundle. So just like calculating how much you need. And like you said, Angela, you're doing like almost a full transformation with 6 bundles, right? That's pretty incredible. Okay.
Yeah, and I think what you're being able to realize is you're not going to solid put those in all around their head. Really in the back of their head, like I was saying, from the nape, up until the round of the head, that's where you're going to put those more solid. But as you kind of come out to the rounding of the head, you're going to put those in a little more brick laid and a little more strategic. And then as you move towards the front, the rounded part of the head, this all right in here always gets, those half bonds, those smaller pieces. Like this is the side of her head. This is her ear right over here. So right in through here, I'm going to go always with the half bonds around there. So I think we all kind of have this idea that it's got to be a ton of, K-tips in that head, and it really doesn't have to be. And it gives such a dramatic look just by adding those in. And if, like we're saying, if you're not even adding any length, if you just want to add volume, I mean, think about that. That would probably be, 2 or 3 packs. So you guys can really customize this for what you need. And I think on your website also, you guys have a calculator on what you have. Like if you're wanting to do a full install, it'll calculate how many packs you'll really need. So kind of get in there and really, look around the website. There's a lot in there for you guys to use, and it's really helpful.
Have any questions for Angela around keratin tip?
Thank you for showing us that. I've definitely been using the K links too, just really adding it around people's hairlines, and it really is a game changer. Even taking like the smaller ones that you guys have and cutting those in half and really getting close to the hairline, it's definitely been helping me fill out my sides where the wax can't really hit. So thanks for showing us that a bit more, Angela.
Of course, Nikki. It kind of just sets you apart from everyone else. I'm telling you, they're like, man, that girl over Nikki, she knows what's going on. Look what she did. Look what she gave me. I mean, you can tailor this, and I think that's what clients just love is that we've really put thought into this and we've tailored this, appointment around them and what their needs are, not just so, calculated and like robotic the way that I always tell the stylist at the salon, I'm like, step back from the client and just really pay attention to what their head needs. We tend to get so focused on, the technique and almost overthink it. When I think if we step back for a moment, literally step back from the head and go, what is it that they really need? I think that, a lot of us really feel we need more density around our face. And that's where K-tips have been so nice. I mean, obviously with the wefts, we've been able to do that as well. But I think being able to really just move, that hair around our face has been nice with K-tips. So even if you did like a row or two of the concealed wefts in the back, and then from their ear forward, go in and just fill all this around with K-tips, they will love it. They will love it.
Well, I think to add to your point, Angela, too, like I think there's a preconceived notion that if you're going to learn K-tip, everyone's like, okay, I need to do like full K-tip installs. Like that's all I'm gonna do, or I need to maybe like change how I'm booking or scheduling my clients to like accommodate. But I think kind of like you said, the secret sauce is like it can be an accoutrement, it can be an enhancement, or it
Yeah.
can be a full look. It's like it's a really versatile method. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and especially if you guys are trying to transition some of your clients. Say you're wanting to do more extension clients and you're just like, man, how do I let them dip their toes in just a little bit? You can always get somebody sold, especially these women around their face with just a few K-tips around their face. So really go in, stock up on some K-tips, keep those in the salon with you. If you're coming to the class, you'll get one of the bond the things that we have that we use this with. So you'll always have that on hand. So I mean, literally, it'll take you. I think I calculated it takes me like 3 minutes per little bond. So, because I'm trying to price this out, we all talk about pricing as well at these classes. So, because that's been a big contingent question, they're like, how do I price for this? So, if it's just an add-on service, we add it with one price. If they're coming in just for K-tips, just around their face, it's going to be a little bit more. But with a color service and a few K-tips around the side of their face, we have that price calculated as well. So, you'll learn that in the class, how we talk about that. And, because that, of course, pricing is always our biggest question.
And I think one of our biggest points of difference in our class is we'll have two models there. One, you'll be able to see a full keratin tip install, and then you'll see a hybrid model as well. So you're able to see the best of both worlds, what it will look like for your different clients that are coming in.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted
It's
to
too
say?
quiet. Surely some other people have questions other than Nikki and I.
How
I
would
would
you
just love to add that.
showing, sorry,
Go
whoever
ahead.
can go first.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I've been trying to really, I'm sure we all have those clients that like want a bang and then they don't want a bang anymore. So how do you feel like I've been adding it in a bit more higher up to kind of get rid of that bang? Would you suggest like that's a really good add-on service as well for our clients that change their mind all the time?
I think that's a perfect place to start. I honestly think if you're a little kind of anxious about doing K-tips and you don't really know where to start, don't start on with a full-on head of K-tips. I think, I've got them up here in my bang area. It's crazy. Like I've got all these little short, hairs from where I cut my hair. Like these are all K-tips right here. So I think being able to pop that in on a service right there, I'm telling you, it might take you 20 minutes. And that's somebody who doesn't really, have everything laid out and together. I mean, it won't take you long at all just to pop, I mean, 4 or 5 around in through here, just to kind of give them what they're needing. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of just right around in here because I feel like that's where we really struggle. I mean, especially like I'm almost 47. I'm getting a big cul-de-sac back in here, but it's kind of nice being able to, especially those blondes. The blondes can never grow that hair around their face. So, just keeping some of these in stock will help, when you're like, God, they're like, God, I wish these little pieces are on my face. You can say, hold on a minute. I have a fix for you. And you've
Yeah,
just
I
won that
think that's
client over for
brilliant.
life.
It gets your like showing your client that maybe already has a full head of wefts that maybe is like interested to kind of just start being like, okay, I have a few in my head. Let's add more. Let's
Yeah.
add more. And then other people keep asking now in the salon, like, oh, what's going on over there? I thought you
Yeah.
only did wefts. Well, now this is a really good product.
Yeah.
So
I
thank
think
you.
it's also
Great.
so important to attract maybe new clients to extension services
Mhm.
because I feel like my sister's a perfect example of this because her hairdresser told her she's not a candidate for extensions, even though she's very frustrated as she's gotten older with thinning around the top of her head, near the temples, and she would love to have a solution. But when she thinks of extensions, she thinks 26-inch wefts, for, a 25-year-old, and that it doesn't
Mhm.
really apply to her. But, as people get older or they take certain medications or they give birth to children, whatever the case may be, there are options for everybody to enhance their look with extensions.
Yeah.
And Samantha had a really good question in the chat too. So she was just asking what the maintenance schedule looks like and the timeline for K-tip and
I will tell.
and I'm going to add on to that and how it differs from wefting. So
It is for sure different. I'll say most of my K-tip girls, everybody's a little bit different just based on what their hair density is naturally. But for the most part, it's about 3 to 4 months they're coming in and getting refills. So when I pop those in, especially when I do the hybrid method, I'll bring them in. I'll put, like for me, say for me, I've had to do a move up without having to move any of my K-tips up. So just remember that you're probably not going to take those K-tips out every time. Maybe you will, but I don't have any of those that I have to take out every single time. It's usually every other move up that they're coming in to do their row move up. Then I'll go in and I'll just take some of the, you can kind of just, I just look through their hair and just look through the ones that are really grown out and need to come out. I'll pop those out with my little opener. And they pop right out with this right here. We have this in your K-tip kit, this opener, and it's perfect. You just pop those out, they come right out, and then I'll go back in and fill those in when they need it.
and can I piggyback off Samantha's question too? So with the full size, like pre-housed bonds, how does that differ from the micros? So do you notice that like the micros have more of like a natural shed? Or
They
do you
do.
have to remove the micros? Okay.
Yeah, you'll find, I mean, I still have to remove them, but there's just not as much hair on that as much as this one is. So if you're going to have any kind of shedding or anything like that, it'll be these right here. And always I think too, we're going to talk about this in class, is making sure that you pay attention to, obviously, this one right here is going to be a little bit heavier than this one right here because of the length. The length goes into your density as well. So if I'm going to go in and put, K-tips around their face, I'm not going to go in and probably put all of that in there. So being aware of the length of the bond, of the hair in the bond versus, just the thickness of it, that also goes into account of when to choose where to put what bond. So there's a lot that kind of goes into it, but we're going to teach you guys all of that, so that you guys have a really successful install.
To piggyback on what Angela's talking about for the class, we are launching a new date in November. It'll be November 2nd, and I'm actually going to put a link in the chat for preferred pricing, and also my call booking link if anyone wants to dive in a little bit deeper and learn a little bit more about the class before they register. Angela, do you have any last minute tips or tricks that you would share with anyone that's either getting started with keratin or adding this service on to another?
For me, I think it's more just making sure that where you're buying your K-tips from is a reputable brand. I know that Katina and I talked in depth about the type of keratin that's in our K-tips. You want to have a really high quality keratin that's in your K-tips. Some of these, they won't even come out of your head if they're the lower quality keratin. So they've really made sure that they put the best keratin that you can put in these. They were very intentional on how they created the bond. I think just, you just have to get started with it. And I think earlier, like we were saying, if you can really just kind of hone in on what you guys can bring to the table when it comes to giving those clients what they need around their face, I think that's the perfect place to start. And then it's not so overwhelming to you guys. Because you're thinking, oh my gosh, when they come in, now I'm going to have to take off, because it does take a little bit longer to take these things out of their head than versus popping the rows out of their head. So that's been something that I've had to be very intentional on, is when I've, transitioned over from only just doing wefts all day. Now I'm doing wefts and K-tips. So what I'll do is I'll schedule an extra 30 minutes. I work with an assistant. So I have them start taking K-tips out if I knew that they needed to come in and get some K-tip removal before their appointments. So think about that, being intentional. I started with that at the very end of the day. So if I have a client that's got a hybrid method, like the coveted or the concealed method and the K-tips in their head, I put them at the end of the day so that I had a little bit of extra time, just so that I wouldn't get overwhelmed with how that service was going to go. So don't be afraid of it. I think starting out, just jump in, and you'll kind of realize that it's a very customizable method, and just paying attention to where your density is that you're putting into their head. Try not to put it too far up on their scalp because that's going to hurt as well. Always kind of a little pro tip. I always say if you have your bond, like where I put these bonds, hold on, let me show you. If you go in and be intentional on where you're placing your bond. If you cover up your bond with your hand and you can see that there's an actual extension in there, you're probably a little too close. So if you want to drop that bond a little bit lower, I think we feel like we have to put those bonds right up on their scalp so that they have more life with them. And that's just not the case, because if you go and flip that bond up, it's going to rip their hair out. So come down off of their scalp a little bit, reminding yourself that if you were to take that little section and come down, pull it down off their scalp a little bit, and then turn this over to the side, you'll realize really the space underneath is really how much space that you're really dropping it. Don't look at the very top of where that bond starts. Look at where it stops at the bottom and then come over to the side. That's really how much you're dropping it. So don't be afraid to drop it down. It may feel a little bit lower, but it's going to be so much more comfortable. And you're going to have a lot more success with these K-tips if you just really make it comfortable for your guest.
Really excited to see Angela in August hosting our first Keratin tip class, where she'll dive into every tip and trick that she has. She's such an amazing educator, getting into those fine details and everything that you need to know to take it back into the salon with confidence. Angela, thank you so much for being a part of this session and really diving into all those fine details that you need going into a keratin tip installation. And for anyone that has any questions, that wants to learn more about our upcoming classes, diving into education or Covet Mane as a brand, I did put my call link in there. We also have Graham on. I'd love for him to drop his Instagram handle, Matt as well, and Angela, if you want to continue the conversation. But thank you all for taking time out of your Monday to jump on to our first Covet session in quite some time. We appreciate that.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your days to be with us. We really appreciate it.
Angela, do you want to put your Instagram in the chat, or I can throw it in there for you?
Can. I got it.
Perfect.
Always reach out, guys. Feel free to reach out. If you ever have questions, you can message me through Instagram. That's what I love so much about this community is, just having the support with everyone. All of our educators are the exact same way. We have Nikki, she's one of our educators as well. We always are here for you guys. The way that Covet is for us, we're also here for you as well. So just know that we always are here to support you guys in whatever it is you need.
Thank you again, everyone. I hope you have a great Monday, and we'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Nikki.
It's good to see your face.
You too. I know. Sorry for my parents. My little one's sick today. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. But I loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
I'll talk soon.